Hey everybody, what's up? This is Brian with Games Under Pressure. I'm really excited to be taking a look at the new Xbox exclusive Screamride. You can get this right now on the Xbox 360 and the Xbox One. It's $40 on both platforms. And I did a video a few weeks back about the demo of this game, walking through my impressions and my experiences with that demo. I was left a little bit lukewarm by some of the performance issues. There was some stuttering, some hiccuping, there was some drawing here and there. So overall, it seemed like a really fun game. There were just some performance bugs that hindered the experience a little bit, but I am willing to give this game a pass on that because that was just a demo, and I'm really excited now to get into this and see if some of those issues have been solved and take a look at some of the gameplay that we weren't necessarily exposed to in the demo. What is interesting about this, at least from the get-go, is that they ease you into the game a little bit better than they do in the demo. The first level in the retail game is not the first level from the demo, and as a matter of fact, I haven't encountered the level from the demo yet. I just started playing a few minutes ago, so that's not saying a lot, but the courses are much easier and much more simple. And you can see here, the gameplay mechanics are, as you would expect, the same. So this is a mode called Screamrider, and in Screamrider, you actually have control over your coaster car. You can see the blue areas of track. You can use those to gain boost. You can also accelerate, you can brake, and you can lean your car into corners. And really the whole goal is to get through the level without having your car derail. The game as a whole is structured very similarly to a mobile game, like an iOS or Android game, in that there is this overworld, which I showed you a few minutes ago, and within that overworld are different subworlds. Within each subworld are even more sub-courses. Within those courses, you have certain goals to meet, which really encourages replayability. So you can see on the left-hand corner of your screen here, you have bonus challenges. That's a third box down. You can see that I got a perfect start, so I fulfilled one of those bonus challenges already. And some of the others, like derail the coaster and still score, you know, a little bit over 1 million points, total two-wheel bonus, charge to turbo. So if you hit all of those, you sort of gold cup the level, which you can see right to the right of those white circles. And again, so it's structured very similarly to an iOS game. If you want to progress through the world, you have to get acceptable ratings on these courses. The intro here, the start of every race, is very similar to something like a Mario Kart, where timing is really important to get that boost at the very beginning. And I will say, just playing this a little bit a few minutes before I started this video, and even during the video, a lot of the performance issues that I saw in the demo are not really evident here, which is a really good sign. Another thing that wasn't super evident in the demo was how they were going to structure some of these courses. So you can see here, this is actually a 3-lap course, which is interesting. So instead of going through one main course one time, you have smaller maps with laps. Which, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. I think that's, it can be lazy. We'll see how many times they want to do something like that. But overall, you know, so far it's kind of cool. You can see on the right-hand side of the screen, there are a number of different options there. You can change the cameras around and make it look pretty good. The art style, like I mentioned in the previous video, is simple. I mean, but it actually gets the job done pretty well, especially when you get a little bit later on in the game and there are these very large explosions and there's a lot going on the screen. However, the art style is only going to be as good as the performance, because if the art style is simplistic, which is fine, and the performance isn't up to snuff, you got a problem. But if they can really nail the performance here, I think that'll be great. Now, this is the first level from the demo. So if you played the demo, this will look very familiar to you. And you can see that this is actually the third level in the game, so they do sort of throw you in a way that they maybe examined in the retail game and felt that it was a little bit too fast. I think it's a good call. It's definitely not a complicated game, but it's a game that I don't know. It's a little bit foreign in its concept. There have been a few mobile games that have done something like this, even with roller coasters. I forget what the name of the game was. It wasn't Coaster Crazy, which is Frontier's other game, but you know, it was something interesting. Yeah, when you jump through, and you can see the large-scale destruction that I was talking about. When you're in the air, off the track, you can trigger your turbo, which basically just catapults you into whatever direction you're going. So at the end, you can bust through some of the billboards, you can bust through some of the buildings, and notice the water, too. The water is something that impressed me quite a bit in the demo. It actually reacts to the debris that is being spilled into the water, which is super interesting. Now I'm getting some stuff here. Yeah, and so here's a really good example. So you have to get security clearance to progress. So my security clearance was just increased to level 2. I'm not totally sure what that means, but I believe that I can access some other levels. So let's go to the world map and just see what we have here. Yeah, and I'm not totally sure what that means. So that's Screamride. It's kind of a cool mode. I'm curious to see just how difficult it gets. And let's try, this is my favorite mode from the demo, actually. It's basically just full-scale demolition in numerous crazy ways. So we'll get into this. To me, this game, or this mode, has the most replay value out of all of them.
Is needed to detect the weak point. Demolition.
So, long story short, what you do here is you have this giant rotating catapult at the bottom. You can increase the power, decrease the power, and you can see as I go up in power, it starts spinning a little bit faster. As I go down, it starts spinning slower. You can slow down time to a certain extent. So you can see here, watch the arms slow down. You get a little guide, and then you can release it at the right time to take out these buildings.
Critical damage achieved. Reading unstable conditions.
You can see some of the large-scale destruction here, which is impressive.
Building collapse inevitable. Sensors detecting extensive damage. Awaiting your throw.
You get multiple cabins to throw. Here you have 6 total. If that hits, it'll be barely there. Yep.
Clear the area. Collapse.
Most of the time, you have to take out the base of the structure. In some of the later levels, like the level that was in the demo, there are...
Next throw.
I think that's weird that the billboard is just hanging out there. I don't know if it's attached to anything. Later on, there are much more complex structures that typically have exploding barrels or things like that at the bottom.
Structural damage. Collapse imminent. Incredible damage achieved. Reading unstable conditions.
I'm almost done with all the structures here. I played way too much of this mode in the demo. I don't know why. This was just the mode that sort of tickled that part of my brain that was looking for the large-scale destruction. And kind of fun. Let me see if I can take out that center. With some of the cabins, you have at least some control of it after you let go. So these cabins in particular, you have, I believe that you have aftertouch on these, which is if you make contact with the ground or a structure, you usually have control over the pod for a little bit longer. So you can, if you hit a wall, you can typically angle off and hit another one. Let's play the next level. Again, the goal here is to just give you an overview of the types of levels that you didn't necessarily see in the demo. Ooh, and this is a very colorful level which looks cool.
A keen eye is needed to detect the weak.
Getting some green in there, some foliage, which is cool. And here is what I was talking about with some of the barrels at the bottom. So typically, if you hit one of these barrels, you can destroy very large parts of the level. Nope, I press wrong button. There, I triggered some kind of reaction.
Extensive damage detected.
One thing that I would like in this mode is the ability to perhaps fly around before you want to shoot. And I don't know if you can. You might very well be able to. But fly around and identify structural weaknesses and come up with a little bit of a plan of attack before going in and sort of blindly firing it first. But as you can see, it's pretty accessible, so I don't know if that's completely necessary.
Chain reaction underway. Foundation damage. Collapse underway.
One of the secondary objectives here is to go through those rings. So depending on how many times you want to replay some of these levels, you can go back and try to hit all the bonus challenges, try to gold star or gold cup all the levels, which is interesting. I think there is some merit to that approach to replayability. That's why mobile games do it so often, is because it sort of works. In the demo, there was a blimp that you could knock down. As a matter, you know what? I think I can take out some of these, but try to up my points a little bit. Oh, screwed that one up. Ooh, I think I overshot that one too. Yep. So that is that level. Let's see what kind of score I got here.
New best screen rating. Mission successful. A noticeable improvement in decimation. Well done. A symphony of destruction.
I think I got a pretty good score there. What I'm going to try here is something that caused the game to stutter quite a bit in the demo. It's when you're in a level and you decide that you want to retry the level. If you screw something up, you have a bad launch, whatever it is. In the demo, the game would really stutter and drop down to probably frame rates in the single digits. So we're going to cause a little bit of destruction here, just see what we can do very quickly, and then I'm going to restart.
Retrying level.
And see, there you go. It looks like they took out the build animation, which is probably what was causing a lot of the stutter in the demo.
Reattempting
here we go. Oh, nope. So the animation is still there, and guess what? It is smooth. So the performance issues, I don't know what was causing them, but it looks like the majority of them are gone, which is great, great news. What's also cool about this mode is that there are little secret damage areas where if you navigate the pod right into these small little channels, or if you bounce it off of an object into another object, you can trigger a pretty big chain reaction that can, with one or two pods, almost decimate an entire level. So part of the fun of this mode is just trying to figure out what those little secrets are, and then getting the skill necessary to actually pull those off on a semi-regular basis. it's a very arcadey game, and I think that is going to be the key to success. It's very easy to pick up and play. And if you're bored, you know, just pick it up, spend a little time with it, and put it down. It's easy to get into, easy to pick up and play. So I'm going to end this level. I'm going to take a look at the third and final mode.
Screen rating. Chain reaction achieved. Demolition achieved.
All right, so the third mode is called Engineer, and if you played Roller Coaster Tycoon Frontier, the developers of this game actually did Roller Coaster Tycoon 3, as well as Coaster Crazy and Coaster Park Tycoon, which is their new one coming in 2016.
Any candidate who hopes to progress.
And in this mode, you just sort of build your coaster. You can see that there, like the other modes, you get the bonus challenges. And then, yeah, so the criteria here is just complete the coaster for this first one. But in the demo, it was you had to build the coaster to a certain length or whatever the case is. One thing that I was very excited about in the demo is the fact that it's super easy to build a coaster in this. It's just really a matter of flicking the thumbstick in any direction that you want the coaster to go, up or down, left or right. And it's just a piece of cake. And in my opinion, that was something that they didn't necessarily make super intuitive in Roller Coaster Tycoon 3. I thought it was good, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't as intuitive as it probably could be. So I'm happy to see them fix that for this. Pieces here to make sure that I can connect this. Alright, there we go. And then what you can do is you can test the coaster. You can change it into first-person mode here, so you can watch as these poor test riders are flung out. You get the lateral G-force readout on the screen to the right. You also get the speed. And on the bottom left, you can see a range of different things like nausea, intensity, screams. And the goal, I believe, is to just get the intensity right in the middle, get the screams as high as you possibly can, and keep the nausea at a low. So you can, and then dudes just get flung out. Because why not?
Check complete.
Okay, so I just unlocked the second world out of what looks like 6. I don't know if there are any more beyond that. But let's check it out just to see what the change of scenery is like here. And you know what? I'm just going to start with Demolition, just to give it a try. That typically gives you a much better view of the overall,
humanity's
overall environment.
Exists somewhere.
So it doesn't look like, it just looks like the background has changed a little bit. It doesn't look like you necessarily have different buildings or anything like that. However, it looks like I have a different pod. So I don't know what this one is all about here. Trying to figure this out. That sort of sucked. Sorry about that. And this one looks like it has aftertouch. So I don't know if there are any...
Detected multiple explosions. Critical damage levels achieved. Instability achieved.
But it just feels like, you know, much more of the same. Which isn't a bad thing. They're starting to put barriers in front of some of the buildings. I expect that's going to get pretty crazy by the end of it. Where you're going to have very, very tight places to hit the buildings.
Structure status critical. Building collapse inevitable.
thing that I'm a little bit confused about with this game is the fact that the whole idea behind it is to put some of these people through living hell and with some of these rides, right? But at the same time, they go out of their way to sort of protect the people. Whereas in Roller Coaster Tycoon and games like that, like if the ride crashes, those people die. So there's a little bit of a strange dissonance there, where they marketed the game as like, put these people through hell and throw them into the water and let them drown and, you know, all this stuff. But then they're very protecting of some of their characters. So a weird dissonance there. I'm not totally sure what that's about.
Multiple explosions detected.
There are some nice particle effects in this game.
Stability compromised. Incredible damage achieved.
So I'm going to go ahead and end the level. I just want to give you a little taste of what everything's about.
Enjoy your swim.
Not necessarily play the game seriously.
Passing grade achieved.
We'll try the Screamrider mode next. Get an idea of that. This one is called The Gap, so I hope you are jumping the coasters at this point. That would be very, very cool.
Beautiful, isn't it? There is no... Use the turbo to boost your speed.
And who needs tutorials, right?
Roger, Command.
When jumping a gap, press X. Just be...
I'm gonna figure it out on my own. Because I'm a man.
Perfect.
That's what men do. Need instructions as I fly off the track. Okay. So already the difficulty here is much greater than it was on some of those first world tracks.
Too late.
You don't have any of the prompts anymore, so it doesn't. You don't get that little circle telling you when to engage your boost on the track. You have to figure it out on your own. They added a prompt there, which is nice, but I'm sure in the next world they'll take that away. Yeah, already it's fairly tricky. I'm happy to see the difficulty ramp up a little bit here. It's not crazy, don't get me wrong, but it keeps you on your toes a little bit.
Turbo drain. Good.
When the camera zooms in that close, it's actually very difficult to know when that boost section is going to end. So if it's on the
Turbo expanded.
like right there, it's pretty tough to find where that ends.
Perfect. Turbo empty. Last.
So not much to the jumping aspect of it.
Red.
Man, that corner keeps screwing me up. Not much to the jumping aspect of it, just more tapping X at the right time.
Good.
Also, the brakes are coming in use a lot more here than they did
Too late.
in the first world.
Perfect. Turbo drain. Too late. Perfect. Perfect. Turbo drained. Track complete.
So yeah, I'll leave it here. Overall, I gotta say, I'm more impressed with this than I was the demo. I'm not totally sure how much replayability there's going to be in this. I have to get further to discover that. All the levels feel sort of samey. It's either a good thing if you like the level design, if you like the feel of it. I would have appreciated, I don't know, some more diversity in terms of the overall look of the courses as you move from world to world. So I was hoping for something like maybe, who knows, like even underground for one level where everything was like mine tracks, or I don't know, you know, just some diversity. I'm not saying it has to be that, but just something to mix it up a little bit, because it does feel very samey. But overall, they fixed a lot of the performance problems that I had, and I totally wasn't expecting that, to be honest. I thought, well, the performance issues are in the demo. Of course they're going to be in the final game, because the demo came out just a few weeks before, but they seem to have cleaned a lot of that up, which is surprising and much appreciated. So overall, I like it, but it's also a $40 game, and I don't know if it's worth it yet. So if you're curious, just keep it here. I'm gonna be adding a review to the site when I play through it, so I'll be able to give you a much more detailed description of what's going on and a final recommendation as to whether to buy the game or not. But overall, I think it's fun. It's just sort of a really stupid, fun game that you can probably pick up and play. It shares a lot with mobile games. So if you're into that type of experience, definitely check it out. And as always, I really appreciate you guys watching. If you could subscribe, that would be awesome. It will help me bring you videos like this in the future. And I'll catch you next time.